Welcome back, everyone. So, we are talking about leadership must haves. This is so important because your employees are depending on you. So, here's the first thing that I want you to understand: leadership is not a title, it is a calling, it is a responsibility. You have a bunch of employees who are depending on you to help them win. Believe it or not, your employees, they actually care and they want you to care also. All right, so let's step into it. But before we get to that, quick note: you have to think about, are you going into leadership for the right reasons? Number one, if you're going in just to have the title, wrong reason. If you're going in because of status, if you're going into leadership because you just want to be able to delegate because you are tired of being on the other side, wrong reasons. Okay. If you want to do that, you can go ahead and become a manager or a boss, right? But at the same time, when it comes to leadership, it's something totally different. And I always say that when it comes to true leaders, they are leading a group of people who are not showing up every day because they absolutely need the paycheck because they have to feed their families, right? But they're showing up because they truly believe that you have their best interests at hand. And in return, they trust you and they want you to win also. All right. So let's get into the top three leadership must haves. Number one, you must be willing to grow personally and professionally as a leader. Remember, it kind of goes back to, are you here for the right reasons? When you step into the role of a leader, that means that you are continuously learning. A lot of times you have leaders who feel as if they've already reached the end. They know everything that there is to know, and they're not even willing to take outside advice or advice from the people that they serve, right? Which are their employees, right? When it comes to leadership, you have to be able to have an opened mind. Here's the worst thing that can ever come out of your mouth: we've always done it that way. That is the quickest way to end your journey, because now it's saying that you don't have a mind, an open mind. It's saying that you're closed minded, that the way that things have always been is how they're going to continue to be. Here's the problem with that: if you realize that you're not growing, if you realize that you're drowning, if you're realizing that things are falling apart, how can you possibly continue to say, well, we've always done it this way? A leader is able to recognize, wait a minute, this way is not working. Somebody please help me, because I need someone to pull me out of the trenches. Please tell me what you do to get better, what you do to inspire your team. When you were in this situation, what were some of the things that you did that helped you grow? Leaders are willing to go and find the answers, even if you got to do some research, right? Or you may have to call up that friend or somebody who's actually doing it better than you. Here's what you're going to need to eliminate if you're going to use this: pride. Because the reason why so many leaders do not want to reach out for help is because of pride. They feel as if they were hired because you're supposed to have all of the answers. When in fact, it's the opposite. They hired you because they hired your skill set, your personality, and they trust that you know how to find the answers, not that you are already coming in with all the answers. So remember, you don't have to be perfect as a leader, but you have to be able to want to grow every single day, because now your employees are going to want to follow your lead. All right, here's the second thing: empathy. Oh my gosh, this is such a critical trait that's missing when it comes to empathy. Your employees, they want to know that you actually care. They want to know that you understand their circumstances. They're people, right? Just like you. So they're going through things. They have trauma that's going on, and they want to know that you support them and that you're going to help them get on track. Here's the thing: in my career, I've been in higher education for about 18 years. And what's so disheartening is this whole concept of leave your drama at the door. If something crazy happened to you, it's like, now it's time for work. It's time for you to be productive. All right. So we don't have time for that right now. If someone just had a death in the family or somebody went through something that was extremely traumatizing, that's not a switch that you can just turn off and on. Someone just can't turn off their emotions, get to work, and then turn them back off and return home and continue on their weeping journey. And this is how a lot of employers view their employees, and it's not right. Do this instead. If you know that someone on your team is going through something, right? Tell them to take a break, take a walk, all right? Call up a friend or a family member who you can vent to. Go get some water. Listen to this motivational speech that I saw earlier. But here's the thing, you're the leader, right? And if you know your team members, you'll be able to know exactly when they come through the door in the morning, something is off with this person. Hey, come in my office, let's talk. Because what we don't understand a lot of times is that sometimes our employees, they're just looking for an outlet so that they can get it off of their chest. Not saying that the problem is going to be solved and it's going to go away altogether, but they want to get it off of their chest so that they can vent and now they can return to work and be productive. Right? Some people just need an outlet to talk it out and to cry. And as a leader, it is your duty. I know some of you are like, yeah, but I don't babysit adults. I totally get it. But at the same time, you need to do what it's going to take for your team members to feel safe and supported. All right. And here's the third one, self-awareness and reflection. A lot of leaders, they don't do this. And it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier with, getting that, what is it? That way that you are always right. I'm the leader, getting pride out of the way. When you're filled with pride, you're not going to self reflect because you don't see anything wrong in anything that you've done, even though everything is falling apart, right? So, as a leader, you have to be able to sit down at the end of the day and say, all right, this meeting could have gone a little better because, what part did I play in it? If I had to have a hard conversation with an employee based on the way that I spoke to that person, if the roles were turned, how would I have felt walking away from that conversation? You have to be able to self reflect because now you're going to put yourself in your employee's shoes. And then you'll be able to either fix it or you know that you need to do something different the next time. Sometimes, as leaders, we totally forget that we used to be an employee, right? We forget that we used to be a subordinate. But a lot of times, when you remember how it felt to be on that side, you view things totally differently and you don't want to be that person that made you feel less than, right? You want to be better. It's the same thing when people talk about, what, I have abandonment issues and I want to make sure that I give my child everything that I did not get at that age, or I want to treat my children the way I wasn't treated. It's the same thing when it comes to leadership. You take some things from some great bosses and you take some things from some bad bosses that you would never want to repeat. It's the same thing. But in order to do that, you have to be able to sit back and self reflect and ask yourself, you know what, maybe that wasn't the right thing to say. Maybe that wasn't the right way to treat that person. But most importantly, you have to fix it. Don't just sit there and then wait for another opportunity to do it right. Go and fix it. You know that you disrespected someone, call them in your office and apologize. Guess what? Your employees are not used to this. So they're going to see you as somebody different and they're going to look at you differently and now start to build trust. All right. Let me know what you know about these topics and what you think about these topics. And you leaders out there, what are some things that you do, to continue to grow as a professional and personally in order to let that rub off on your team members?